It's another edition of our Perry's Inside Scoop as we have our weekly visit with Orange head football coach Dino. Good to have you with us. The Cuse on the road, matchup of 3 and 4 teams against Florida State this week. And Coach, when you opened up your availability with the media on Monday, you're kind of going through it. I didn't know if it was a turn of phrase. You said flu bug or something like. Is there a rash here, or was that just a misspeak or turn of phrase here in terms of the injuries and things you're dealing with?
Well, I actually had just gotten my flu shot right before that, so the flu was on my head, was heating up my body a little bit. But this is normal. This is normal. It's just what's abnormal is getting so many injuries at one position is what really bothers me a little bit. But you got to go with the flow. Last year we had very minimum injuries, had a fantastic year. Now the numbers are balancing out, so to speak, and that's part of football. You got to deal with it.
You had a little bit of an injury gain, I would say, going into the Pittsburgh game as Andre Cisco started. He had traveled and dressed but didn't play in the previous game, and Ife Melifonwu got some run. So are you trending in the right direction at that particular position, defensive back?
I think so. We've got to see how Trill's doing. Obviously, he left the game with an injury, which I won't throw out there. But we're very, very deep at that position, so we can still put a team out there if we take some hits there. But it's good to have Cisco back. He was out there being physical. There's no doubt about it, and he was able to play the entire game because a lot of times when you come back from an injury like that, you play, but you're not yourself, or you can't play the whole game. If he didn't feel great in the beginning of it, so he didn't play the first half. He felt a lot better after halftime, and he got some run in the second half, and we needed him. And hopefully those guys won't regress, and they're on the road of getting better, so we can see their better parts or their better half, so to speak, in the last 5 to 6 games.
You know, you talk about how much you're embracing challenge and trying to work your way through some things with this team this year. Do you sense that from the players? Like, in other words, Melifonwu was saying, "Yeah, I want in this game." Yeah. And the guys that want back, and they want to be part of the solution.
There's no doubt, along with the quarterback. I mean, the quarterback could say, "Hey, I'm hurt. I can't go." That's not the case. Those guys are going out there and they're playing. If something hits them to the point where it's so uncomfortable they can't, they'll step out. The next guy will step up, and that's football. And I'm really proud on how all those guys are competing when it comes to the pain threshold type thing, and are really trying to do whatever they can to help the family win.
Well, as you always say, at this point of the season now, we're going into week 9. Most teams have played 7 games across the country. There's not a healthy player that's played anywhere.
No. Everybody's got something that's swollen or is it discolored.
Sure. All right, so let's start at the quarterback position here, where Tommy DeVito takes another couple of hits. Where is he right now, just from a overall standpoint in terms of his performance and his health?
Well, first of all, I think from a health standpoint, it's sometimes he's going to feel better, sometimes he's not going to feel so good. You got to see how it goes. And obviously, somebody 300 pounds hitting you at full speed could affect that health. So we'll see how that is. From a football standpoint, he's doing okay. He's doing really well. He's doing some good things when he's out there. We've got to continue to get the best out of him. Now, we've got other guys that have gone in the game. Clayton's gone in and done a nice job, and that was exciting to see. And then we'll see if we have to go even further in the depth chart at that position. But we're prepared to play as many as we need to have an opportunity to win.
You know, it was only one play in the game. I thought it made a statement. Rex Culpepper had to go in, a quick emergency thing. Helmet popped off, right? So he's got to go out. He threw the ball, right? So that was not just go, mitigate disaster here, hand it off. The people in the game run the plays.
We don't. We're aggressive. We're not gonna play a different style. We're not gonna play a different way. That's not how we're wired, and that's not how we're set up. He went in there. He called for a pass. He threw the pass. It was incomplete. Oh well. Next time complete it, and if he had to play more, we'd run our offense, and hopefully he'd run it well.
What has Clayton shown you that helps here, whether it's a strength of his or taking a little wear and tear off of Tommy?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think he has some strengths, and then I think it also takes wear and tear off of Tommy. And I wouldn't, we'll play 2 quarterbacks, we'll play 3. That we're not going to play by the book.
Sure.
And again, take that book, and we're going to do the things that we think we have to do in each individual game based off of who we're playing to give us the best chance to win. Now, if it works out, that's fantastic. We're all happy. If it doesn't, that's unfortunate. But we're not going to just preserve our right to punt and run the ball 3 times and punt the football and play defense and special teams. That's not how we do it.
We're in over the long spectrum of the program, going back years here, we're in a little bit of an unusual time in that, okay, a team has a losing record. A lot of other times when there's been a losing record, there's been lots of blame to go around, and that may well be the case now. But there's a lot focused on this offensive line, fairly or unfairly. How are they handling it in terms of trying to be part of the solution here and to get better?
Well, they're big guys, and they've got big shoulders, and they want to do good. It's not that they don't want to. They want to perform at a high level, and unfortunately, some of them are older than the other ones, and the young ones have to come along, and the bad thing is that they're young. The cool thing is they're not going to be young next year. And all they're going to do is get better. And everyone's going to forget about how bad they were when they were young and talk about how good they are as juniors and seniors. But we've got to go through this. It's like training a puppy not to poop on the rug in the house. You have to go through this to have that 6, 7-year-old dog sitting in the corner that knows exactly what's going on and is guarding your family because it's a member.
And puppies are undefeated. They're right. There's never been one that came home and right from the start.
Mastered it right off the bat, yeah,
right.
Without doubt.
Right. Okay, Florida State, also 3-4, so they don't want to hear about it, right? They had a chance to win at Wake Forest on Saturday and did not. How do you assess this team? I think we know, but how do you, when you look at Florida State, what do you see there?
Extremely talented. They've got 3 second or first-round draft picks on their team right now. Right now, if the season ended, that's the tailback for sure, the nose tackle for sure, and then the wide receiver when he decides to come out, Terry. So I'm not sure we've got firepower like that, and that's not even talking about the other people. They're very talented. Okay, they're well coached. They've got consultants that were ex-head coaches looking at offense and defensive game plans to help the coaches that they have. And yet, football's a strange game. And even though we're, double point dogs, I think we have a chance. Now, everything's going to have to be right, and we're going to have to be locked arms, and we're going to have to in our minds, we don't care who gets the credit, just as long as someone makes the plays and we can get it done. And if we can do those things, and it's close in the fourth quarter, then let's see where the chips fall.
Sure. It was a 30-7 win for the Orange in the Dome last year against Florida State. Historic. Your post-game speech obviously got a lot of run. It was the first win by Syracuse against FSU since the days of Floyd Little back in 1966. That you have beaten some of those milestones and have had that kind of history, and a lot of these guys, of course, were on last year's team. Do you get that sort of sense that as you come here, hey, throw the records out because you are capable of doing something special?
Well, this is what I believe. I believe that the 4-8 team was hungry. It hadn't had success. And I'm going back, 2016. Then 27, the 4-8 team was hungry. It hadn't had success. Then we had that win. And then we had that season. And then we were supposed to have a certain type of season that we haven't had. I look now and I see those guys that are hungry again. I see those 4-8 guys that they don't bologna cheese on everything that's going on outside the noise, so to speak, that they want to get their respect back and go out and play a real football game and get after somebody that a lot of people don't feel like they have a chance to win. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to, but they have the right look in their eye.
And over time, we've talked about how sometimes that's easier to accomplish on the road, right? And especially if you're doing this shut out the noise. Well, what does the airplane do, right? Exactly. And when you travel like that, is that something that's discussed at all? And then obviously that's juxtaposed against going into a tough environment where obviously visitors have had a tough go at Florida State over the years.
Well, it's an us against them. It's no different than going and playing at LSU, which we went down there and played a heck of a game against those guys that unfortunately we didn't get done in the fourth quarter. So I think we have the right fight. I think we have the right courage. I think the guys are still together, and we're going to see. It's hard to win there. It's hard to win there with good football teams. And again, they lost that game last week. They weren't in Tallahassee. Right. Yeah, they weren't in Tallahassee, and it's hard to win. And we're going to see how we're going to do.
Okay, let's wrap with our Perry's Inside Scoop fan question. Chuck from Camillus writes in, Coach, and we've seen a lot of it over the course of the year. Is ACC parity a good thing?
Not if you're a football coach. I want to be that guy who's looking at everybody else and saying everybody else is down there. I think it's good for the fans. I think it's good for the excitement. It's not good for coaches. It makes us old really fast. But I think for the fans, it could be good.
Well, Clemson's won them all. Georgia Tech had lost them all until last week, beating Miami, and then everybody else kind of in the middle. Another toss-up this week. Coach, we thank you for your time. As always, best of luck.
Thanks, Matt.
Orange head coach Dino Babers. You can send in your question at cuse.com/inside scoop. And for more on Perry's and their family of flavors, even ice cream delivery, check out perrysicecream.com.